So, let's ask the big question, the one that's on so many of our minds. Is the American dream actually broken? Today, we're going to deconstruct that feeling. You know, the one that the game is rigged, and more importantly, we're going to talk about how to fight back. Let's dive in.
I mean, does this feel familiar? That feeling like you're on a treadmill running faster and faster, but the finish line just keeps moving further away? Listen, if you feel that way, you are not alone and you're not crazy. It turns out there are some very real reasons for it.
And check this out. This one statistic just nails that feeling perfectly. Think about it. Back in 1940, it was basically a guarantee, a 90% chance that you would do better than your parents. But today, it is literally a 50-50 coin flip. The economic ladder that our parents and grandparents climbed is basically broken for half of us. So what happened? What's pulling the rungs out from under our feet?
Well, it's not just a vague feeling. The evidence points to three massive economic traps that have completely changed the game. And let's be clear, these aren't about you buying too many lattes. These are systemic hurdles that are making it incredibly tough for the average person to get ahead.
Let's start with the big one, the housing trap. Yeah, we've all heard the advice, right? Just stop buying avocado toast, cancel your Netflix subscription. But the math just doesn't work. This isn't about small personal choices. It's about a giant structural crisis in affordability.
Okay, let's just break down the actual numbers. 40 years ago, a typical home cost about 3.5 times the typical salary. That feels manageable, right? But today, it's 5 times your salary. The simple, brutal truth is that our paychecks haven't even come close to keeping up with the explosion in home prices. And you know what that gap creates? The real wall. Even if you could somehow swing the monthly mortgage, the price of admission, that down payment, is just out of reach. As NASDAQ puts it, you need to save up a down payment that is 64% bigger today than you would have in the past just to keep up. That's a monumental undertaking, and it's locking millions out of one of the main ways families have always built wealth.
All right, next up is the tax trap. And this one is so fundamental to how the whole system is tilted. To put it simply, the money you earn from your job, from your hard work, gets taxed at a much, much higher rate than the money someone else makes from their investments, from just owning stuff. Our tax code literally values owning capital more than doing labor.
And that leads to this completely bonkers reality. A doctor working insane hours, saving lives, can end up paying a higher percentage of their income in taxes than a billionaire who just sits back and lives off their stock portfolio. The message from the system couldn't be clearer. It's better to own things than it is to do things.
And trap number 3, this is the one that really gets under your skin. It's the opportunity trap. It's the proof that hard work isn't always enough when some people get to start the race with a fast pass. We're talking about elite alumni networks that open doors you can't even see, or inheriting social connections that land you interviews. And then there's stuff like credit piggybacking, where a rich parent just adds their kid to a 20-year-old credit card and bam, the kid instantly inherits a perfect decades-long credit history. It's a massive head start that you simply cannot earn.
Okay, so it's a lot, and yeah, the game can feel totally rigged, but that does not mean we're powerless. The first part of the solution is about changing the actual rules of the game. So let's talk about some big, systemic ideas that could really start to level the playing field.
Let's talk about 2 big ideas that could really move the needle. First, real systemic tax reform. That means making a simple change, taxing wealth at the same rate we tax work. End of story. Some even propose a small wealth tax on fortunes over, say, $50 million. And second, there's a really cool, proactive idea called baby bonds.
Now, this baby bonds idea, it's a total game changer. Here's how it works. Every single child, when they're born, gets a government-funded savings account. That money grows for 18 years, and when they become an adult, they have real startup capital for life. Enough to put a down payment on a house, or to pay for college without crippling debt, or to start their own business. It's all about making sure everyone gets a fair shot from day one, not just the kids born into wealth.
So those big picture fixes are crucial, right? But that's the long game. That takes time and political will. So the question becomes, what can you do right now? What can you do tomorrow to navigate the system we currently have? Well, that's where the personal playbook comes in. This is your survival guide.
So here it is, a 3-step strategy to play the game on your own terms. First, you gotta play the capital game. Second, it's time to job hop, not stay loyal. And third, you have to use financial literacy as your best defense. Let's break it down.
All right, step 1. This is maybe the biggest mental shift you have to make. If the system is designed to reward owners of capital, then your #1 goal must be to become an owner of capital. It's really that simple. You have to move from just earning to also owning.
And look, for most of us, the simplest on-ramp to becoming an owner is the 401k plan you get at work. Don't think of it as just a retirement account. Think of it as an ownership machine. With every single paycheck, it automatically buys you tiny little slices of ownership in the biggest companies in the world. You are becoming an owner. But here's the magic trick, the real superpower of the 401k. Your money gets to grow tax-deferred. That means the government doesn't take a cut every single year. So your earnings get to be reinvested and earn their own money, over and over. It's your own personal counterattack against the tax trap, letting your capital compound way, way faster. Okay, step 2. This one might sting a little, especially if you're a loyal person, but the data from Pew Research is just undeniable. Look at this chart. People who change jobs see their pay jump by almost 10%, but people who stay loyal at their company, their real wages actually go down when you account for inflation. Let me say that again. In this economy, staying put often means you're getting a pay cut. Job hopping is the new pay raise.
And that brings us to step 3. You have to learn the rules of the game so you can play it better. Financial literacy isn't some boring homework assignment, it is your shield. It's your defense. The wealthy teach their kids about credit, taxes, and investing from a young age. This right here, this is your lesson.
Let's take your credit score, for example. It feels like this big, scary, secret number, right? Well, it's not. It's just a formula. And look, the 2 biggest pieces of the pie are simply paying your bills on time, that's 35%, and keeping your debt levels low, that's another 30%. That's it. Just by knowing that, you know exactly what to focus on to build a great score, which saves you thousands and thousands of dollars on loans for the rest of your life.
So, there you have it. A playbook to survive and maybe even get ahead in the world we live in now. But that brings us to the final and maybe the most important question of all. If you have to learn all these rules just to survive a rigged game, what's our responsibility to help change those rules for everybody else? Because playing the game, that's for survival. But changing the game, that's on all of us.